Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be going over all the games that I played at Essen Spiel 2025 over the 2 days that I was there. I went on the Thursday and the Friday. These are the games that I brought back. Go and watch my haul video and I'll talk through all of these in a little bit more detail, but let's go over the games that I played at the convention. On the Thursday morning, one of the first games I wanted to play at Spiel was Little Soldiers, so we sort of made a beeline for that, and glad that we did. It's a very fun, simple, quirky little two-player game. I think there's maybe ways you can do it as a team, but it's kind of a two-player game. Think like the green soldiers from Toy Story, those little army soldiers that you might have had when you were a kid, but a game out of them. Like you are using this red or yellow string to measure out how far you are, if you can therefore re-roll your dice when you're shooting at them or not, or you get a bonus re-roll. There's a catapult where you are flicking something across the board, a dice that, like a grenade dice that you're going to flick across the table with bits and pieces like jam jars and stuff just dotted out across the table to be sort of the terrain. Just a lot of fun. Now, it was the first thing we demoed, the first thing that clearly the people teaching us had taught that day. And obviously, we're in Germany. There is a small language barrier. They spoke a lot better English than my German, so I can't say anything there. But there was definitely a few questions, rules-wise, that we had. But we still very much enjoyed it. And I think that is definitely a game I want to play again. Keeping in the two-player trend, we then went to Jelly Jelly and played the Slasher. This is a two-player trick-taking game where you are cooperatively, well, trying not to be slashed. And, well, we didn't do too good in it. We got a number of the items that we'd need to escape, but, well, I then took quite a bit of damage, shall we say. In this, you are using the cards, and the 4 different types do different things. The red sort of bullets mean you're going to take more damage if you do get slashed, unless you have these green cards that can sort of mitigate them. White cards that start at one colour, but by the end of the game, when you've lost health, might actually be another colour. And then yellow ones which help you search through the deck. But the deck also has the slasher in it. So as you're going through it, trying to find the items that you need to escape, oh, I've been slashed. And then you hopefully aren't taking too much damage. Really sort of interesting way that they've used that trick taking. Oh, I need you to lose this trick, but give me a green if you can, because I got loads of bullets. Different things like that, and each sort of location that you're at has like a sort of extra stipulation, restriction or something on how you play. So really very much enjoyed that, lost quite spectacularly, but would want to play that one again. That's the Slasher. Then we played Guessocracy or Dice Democracy. It depends on the listings or website that you're looking at it on. I think on Board Game Geek it's Dice Democracy in some places, but also Guessocracy. Either way, it's a game all about dice. You start with 3 votes each, and votes are your points. But you also sometimes will risk some points to basically call other people's bluff. Now, what happens is all these dice of a couple of different sizes get rolled, and you have a few seconds before the player that rolled them is going to drop this sheet over the top, so you can't see them anymore. So you need to very quickly look at that, look at the dice in the box and go, right, I think there's the most 1s and the least 6s, or the least 4s or whatever, and then you put your votes in. Everyone then that is the majority of, even if they're wrong at this stage, gets a point. So if everyone thinks, oh, there was the most 1s, or the majority think there's the most 1s, those players get a point. Any of the other players that didn't say it was 1 can basically go, no, you are wrong, but by risking 3 points. Now, if you're right, you're going to keep those. If you're wrong, you've lost them, and you get that sort of funness there of calling other people out. Not necessarily their bluff, but at least calling them out and actually. Look, see, I told you there was 4 4s and only 3 1s. What are you on about? A very quick sort of party game. I think Mark, who I was with, enjoyed it more than I did, but I'm glad I gave it a go. It was definitely a unique game. Next up, I played a couple of games in a sort of press meeting that I'd pre-arranged. So I played Orbita, which is just down here, that I've got to review. A very quick 2-player card game where you are not allowed to change the order of cards in your hand, and you're playing these sort of sets 1 to 3 to move these moons around in this orbit. And depending on which moon is highest, of sort of like the trick-ish that you've played into from the other player. I've played greens, they can't play green, maybe they play oranges. Whichever of those green or orange moons is then sort of the highest scoring on the orbit takes all of those cards. But at the end, you score points based on, I've got the most orange. Okay, so every one of your orange points is worth a point to me. So you kind of get this stage where you want to lose some points of a colour, because otherwise you're not going to score any. If you've got all of the greens, you score 0 because they haven't got any to give you as points, that sort of thing. So a very fun little card game, very tactical, and I'm looking forward to playing more of that. We also played the new Coffee Rush game, but this is like grab and go, I think it's called. Can't quite read the box there, but I think it's grab and go, because effectively it's Coffee Rush but turbo speed. You are, well, grabbing these tiles from the middle, trying to make your drinks. Oh, I don't need a coffee, I need a chocolate for this one. Okay, grab another tile. No, it's not that one. Right, now I need ice and milk. So I'm grabbing, that's a milk. Cool, ice, yes. Right, I've done this order, and you're trying to do that really quickly. So a lot of fun, that one, and very fast. Then at Arcane Wonders, we tried Buffet Boss. A very quick, I kind of didn't expect it to be over quite as quickly as it was, dexterity game. I think I would play this one again, and maybe even do better, because I ended up knocking half of mine down, as you're balancing these different fun-shaped foods. Grapes, shrimps that are nicely curved, an egg, which was actually, I managed to impressively, I think, balance it on the top of the structure. And then you're scoring points. Each player has like a little bonus score that they're trying to do. I was trying to do, I think it was like white or yellow foods. Someone else was trying to balance more fish. So whoever's taking from the middle was trying to get that fish or whatever first to balance it on their structure. A fun one, very, very quick. I was definitely surprised at how fast Buffet Boss played. Of course, as a big fan of it, I couldn't not play Star Wars Unlimited at the event. I played with my friend Mark, even a couple of times in the hotel. We played while we were waiting, sat on the floor to go into Spiel on the Friday morning. And I even managed to play Xander, the community manager, although I think he might have stepped up in his role, so I might have got the role wrong there, from Fantasy Flight Games. And I might like to say I won as Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon. We just did the sort of set 5 spotlight decks, the pre-constructed decks. We played against each other there. He hadn't played that weekend, so I think we can put it down to him being maybe a bit rusty and from the flight and everything over. But it was great fun to give him a game, and always fun to play Star Wars Unlimited. The first game we played on the Friday, we sort of ran to that booth, and we were only just there in time, was to play Koi at DV Games. I played Bonsai a few years ago and liked it. I think Koi is a little bit better. Maybe it's just because of the production. The production is really nice with those translucent tiles that the fish are on, the different bits that go up, the little shrines and stuff that go around your pond. I just really liked this tile placement game. Interesting choices from the market, and even at 4 players, which we played at for our first game, it wasn't too slow round the table. You might guess from some of this on the table, I play a lot at like 2, so it would be even quicker, and even at 4, it wasn't putting me off how slow it was round the table. Very much would like to give Koi another go, because like I say, it looked really nice, and the tile placement and then putting the stuff on top was very satisfying, and an easy choice on your turn of take from the market or do a build action, maybe triggering some workers that you've picked up from the market previously. Yeah, I liked it. If you like Bonsai, I think you'll definitely like Koi as well. I played General Orders a few years ago, I think at Spiel, as well as at UK Games Expo, but they had the sequel, General Orders 2. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of it because I will butcher it. And this was an interesting one. I didn't quite enjoy it as much, I don't think, as the original, where you had some interesting things about parachuting people in, or long range attacks. You had the ships that were going on the water spaces and could sort of shell in onto some of the land spaces, and then some of the land spaces could then like bombard out onto the ships. And that was quite a cool interaction there, as well as how you could move troops sort of using the boats to sort of jump it all the way round part of the sort of board. I don't know. I think I was grabbed by the first one, the sort of World War II parachutes and stuff going on, a little bit more than this sort of theming. I think otherwise, though, you have that cool thing of if I reinforce before you, I get more troops. You also then have like the reinforcement specifically for the boats, as well as the cards that really can impact things. So yes, I enjoyed it, would play it again, but I think if I had the option to play one or the other, I'd probably want to play the first one again, slightly more. Then we were at the Sorry We Are French booth and played CODO Berlin 63. I think I got that in the right order, name-wise. I sort of went into it expecting a sort of modern Stratego, and I think it kind of is that still. You had these powers of the different people, but what I didn't realise going into it is that there's a chunk of bluffing in this game. So when you're moving a piece and then maybe activating a power, you don't have to be activating that thing's power. You could say, oh yeah, this is the piece that moves diagonally instead of just up, down, left, right. And you could be being truthful, and if the other person called you out and you're being truthful, they lose one of their reserves, which is eventually one way to lose if you run out of reserves. The other angle is I could not be telling the truth, and actually the one that moves diagonal is this side of the board. And I liked that. I think it worked quite well. There was definitely a few instances where there was, ooh, can I bluff like that? But it still does feel a bit like Stratego in terms of you're trying to find out who their lead or where their leader is, and take their leader out. And their leader changes character each time because it's shuffled from a deck. And it's an interesting one. I don't know how much I'd rush back to play it again. I think it's maybe one that would really benefit with you knowing all of the characters and all the powers just off the top of your head. So I do think multiple plays of it would improve the game. But yeah, I'm glad I've given it a go. Then we went to Essen and played some of their small games. So we played 4 Corner Detective. I didn't really know from the description how the game was going to work, but basically the corners of the cards are different bevels. So they're beveled more or less and different rates. So there's a 3, a 4, a 5 and an 8 sort of diameter. And it's not as easy as it sort of maybe sounds to guess which is what you're trying to do. You're trying to work your way around a card and work out, oh, that's a 3, 3, 4, 8. And put that down and then reveal it, and you'll get points based on if you're right or wrong, but whoever sort of locks their answer in first has the option or the opportunity to gain more points. An interesting concept, a very unique game, and one that I'd say you should try, but you might not need to own it, sort of thing. Then we played one of their other fun sort of box games called Gravity, I think it was Gravity 3, and in this you are sort of using these different, almost like small puck things, and they weigh different amounts, and you're trying to often guess across a different few game modes how much they weigh. Maybe you're trying to get all the ones, you're trying to get the heaviest ones, you're trying to bluff your opponent. Oh yeah, this is a 4, and they might take it or leave it, or even sort of balance them on the game box itself. So that was an interesting one. Their line of small box games is often quirky, fun, and ones that you should just sort of at least try, and there'll be sort of one that captivates you a little bit. For me, I think out of all of them, Viking Seesaw is probably the obvious one, that's just like, that's cool and different and fun. But, well, all of their games are just worth trying, I'd say. Of course, while I was downstairs, I forgot 2 great games that I did demo, so let's talk about those quickly. First of all, at Mighty Boards, I played Pinched, and this was a lot of fun. A super simple game where the players are effectively all trying to go on the same heist, but only the person selecting knows where the heist is going to be. Is it going to be after the art gallery, the bank, and different sort of rooms of the house that you're stealing from? This is a really cool one. I don't know how well it would work with 2 players, but we played it with 4, a good demo, and it's a lot of fun going, well, they're after a sort of a set of pink cards at the moment. There's some pink cards in this row, so I think they're going to the yellow row, so I'm going to say they're going there. And if they are, you're going to join in on some of the loot. If no one goes with them, though, that heister, that burglar, gets all of the loot. They pinch all of it. And obviously, you're trying to get as many of the loot cards as possible to sell them in sets for your end game points. I definitely want to try Pinched again. It was super fun and also super easy. You are going to be able to play that one with pretty much anyone, even first time gamers, and I think they'll enjoy it, pick it up, and you'll have fun with it. Another one was Pick and Packers. This was on my Spiel sort of anticipated list, and it pulled through. I always like it when a game does that. This is a small oink, so quirky sort of experience, and well, yes, 100%. Effectively, you need at least 3 players, and you have 2 people that are going to be lifting the drone around with 1 finger each, balancing it from sort of these card locations to one another to pick up things. Everyone else is basically guessing how good, or, well, in our case, how bad we were going to do. Well, we're only going to manage like 2 items. The more people guessing, though, there's only 1 card of each number. So if the first person guesses, like, oh, they're only going to manage 2, and that's what you thought, you have to go, well, I'll have to hope that they get 3. Or you could, you know, if we were playing, you'd be silly to go anything above 4, because, yeah, we weren't good at it. But it was still super fun, and every single time you set that game up, the cards are going to be in different locations, the objects are going to be shuffled around. And yeah, so balancing on one item over another item as you're lifting this sort of drone thing across the board. It's a lot of fun. Definitely want to play that one again. Anyway, now back to past me to finish the video off. And then, well, of course, you have to fit a game on the plane on the way home, don't you? We actually got another game of Orbita in on the plane, just to show you can actually play it in quite a small sort of place. But they are all of the different games that I played at Spiel. I was there for the Thursday and the Friday. Some of the time, obviously, I was speaking to publishers to get the majority of this haul. So do go and check out my haul video where I talk through all of these games. Some I played, some I haven't, some I'm hopefully getting to the table later this week. But yes, some great games, and I think I could have played more games if it wasn't for the fact of sort of talking to people for different review copies and such. But there was also other people waiting in line 2 hours to play the Star Wars Unlimited developers, which I wanted to do but couldn't dedicate that much time to sort of waiting in line for that. And other people that it looked like probably 30-40 minute queue to queue up for a shop to go and buy certain games. So yeah, I think I played a good amount. I had a good time, and Spiel has come home with me. So like I say, go and check out my haul video where I talk through all the games I brought home with me. Hope you had a fantastic Spiel if you went. Let me know in the comment section below though, if you didn't, what are you most jealous that I managed to get hands on with? And until next time, well, thanks for watching.